I am Steve Kaiser at 191 Hamilton Street. Today the board is undergoing the most intense scrutiny of its long tenure. It was formed in 1914, 100 years ago. Since the beginning of the year, public concerns over the courthouse and the new street have highlighted citizen concerns about the way the board does its business. These concerns take the form of an undercurrent of distrust and dissatisfaction. On May 20th of this year, I watched the worst planning board meeting I have ever seen. That dismal meeting convinced me that I should become a full supporter of the Carlone petition. Is the problem poor communication? Is it the stonewalling of citizen concerns? Is it the appearance of being in the tank? These are very common criticisms of governments. And the BRA in Boston is even in worse shape than we are.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes?
Could you tell me what "in the tank" means?
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Please.
The BRA in Boston is even worse shape. The Long Wharf case is a volcano waiting to erupt. State governments have similar problems. A few years ago, high state official spoke in the East Boston meeting about the refusal of the state to require an environmental study. The official explained, "I am not in the tank." From the back of the hall, a voice shouted out, "Take off your scuba gear when you say that." With some validity, citizens presume that money plays too much of a crucial role. 2 or 3 years ago, when I encouraged the board to consider public priorities and not developer preferences, an active participant in development activities told me my concerns were all wrong. He said the way things are done in Cambridge is called pay to play. Pay to play. The developers have too much money. Citizens are locked out when the rules are pay to play. As a former teacher, I thought that preparing a report card on how well the planning board has performed this year might be a good idea. I made a list of various attributes, and the board did not do too terribly well. On traffic and flooding, for example, I could detect no skills. And that's been a problem for 25 years. It's not your fault. It's the fault of the appointing authority. But you still need to know that if you're going to look at alewife, you need those 2 skills vitally, and they're not here. And if anything happens in the meeting, a question is given to an individual from traffic and parking who's not a traffic engineer. So there's a problem in the way this is done. And when I got to one of the attributes, one of them struck me as absolutely fundamental. Who are the members of the board who, by their statements, appear to have a conscience? I can think of only one.
Mr. Kaiser, could you
Yes,
wrap up?
and I worry greatly about the other things. Thank you for the warning, and I'd like to agree with the board for limiting my time, because otherwise I would have spoken for 3 hours. But I did prepare a one-page summary of the history of the planning board, which I think will be useful, and I'll hand it out. Thank you.
Mr. Kaiser, I have a question, please, before
Yes,
you.
I'm sorry.
You indicated that this board is, quote, "in the tank." Now, what does that mean?
What I meant by that is, this is a criticism that I have heard.
And when you said it, so
Yes.
you tell me what you meant.
That decisions are made ahead of time, and that they are not the result of necessarily of public opinions at a public hearing. That it's sometimes the term backroom deal is used, okay? And so the public does not have the sense of confidence in the way that the decision is being made, that it is open and that it is fair. And so people will complain, I don't know the origins of the term.
All right, well, let me ask you another question.
Yes.
You indicated that in Cambridge, you pay to play.
Yes.
Now, was that a referral to this board?
It was a referral to the process in the city of Cambridge for getting things approved.
I didn't ask you that. I
I
said,
know.
was
I
that a
think it
referral to
included-
this board?
I think it included the
So you
board.
do include that you believe that pay to play or graft and corruption is a part of what this board is all about.
All I know and all I stated, sir, was that was what was told to me by somebody very knowledgeable.
I'm not
about the
asking you to
process.
say what was told to you.
Yes.
You made a statement here at a public hearing that this board is in the tank and that Cambridge is
No, I did
about
not,
pay to
sir.
play.
I did not make that statement.
Okay. We have.
Please, I can give you my comment, and you can read it, and if I've stated something wrong, by
Okay,
all
so-
means, you can correct it.
Okay, so
Let me
basically,
hand out my comments.
so you're basically saying your testimony was hearsay? Okay,
Okay.
so that's very helpful.
I hope so. I hope
I'm also a little bit concerned in the past about editorial comments about whatever I say. I think the board should be in a position to listen to everybody without the editorial comments. Thank you.
I guess I need to make one comment, Mr. Kaiser. You made some comments about us, money talks, in the tank and so forth. We hear from you all often, Mr. Kaiser, and I expect that we will hear from you further in the future. And I will listen to you, and you are entitled to express your opinion. But you said things today as to which you had absolutely no evidence, no objective basis for. You've demonstrated a total disregard for the truth and for facts. And as far as I'm concerned, you've discredited yourself and you have no further credibility, at least with this board member. So I will listen to you politely in the future, but you've lost any credibility in any future testimony with me.